Inside a city in China, a special detective named Walter realizes that he is being followed. He places something inside a mailbox, but unfortunately, as soon as he steps outside, a large truck passes by. Elsewhere, there is a military instructor named James, also called Toto by some, who teaches in the Naval Division. He is currently in Hawaii. None of his students are present except one who is still in the water training. James comes out and scolds all of them harshly. Soon after, a soldier approaches him and informs him that the police have called and that it is an important call. Minutes later, James is shown his father, Walter's dead body. He is told that a professional killer was responsible for the murder. James returns home and begins preparing himself mentally and emotionally for the difficult days ahead with his family. His wife, Lila, starts asking him questions about Walter. James informs her that Walter is dead. Lila becomes furious and emotional. She says angrily, "Why are you saying his name like that? He was your father. You're being disrespectful. Did you at least inform your brother?" But James does not want to tell anyone yet. Meanwhile, James's brother, Jonny, sees his girlfriend Valentine packing her belongings. She is preparing to leave because it is her birthday today, and Jonny completely forgot. He tries his best to apologize, but she refuses to accept it and continues packing her clothes. She walks away, leaving Jonny feeling deeply hurt and devastated. At that moment, Jonny receives a call from Lila, who informs him that their father's funeral will take place soon. Suddenly, two men appear near Jonny's house holding knives. Jonny pretends to act weak and harmless at first, but then he suddenly attacks them. The men turn out to be members of a criminal gang. Jonny begins fighting both of them fiercely. One of the men pulls out a gun while the other tries to defend himself. During the fight, Jonny brutally stabs one of them and even cuts off his hand without mercy, killing him. Afterward, he picks up the severed hand. At that moment, James arrives from behind and starts yelling at Jonny. Shortly after, the two brothers stop fighting. Later, both brothers attend their father's funeral. During the ceremony, some gang members are also present. The brothers begin arguing, and the priest scolds them for disrupting the funeral service. James is now living in his childhood home. During the mourning period, a man named Peter, who is a government official, arrives, along with their half-sister named Hanuni. Jonny tells them, "I didn't come here just for the funeral. I'm also investigating the person who killed Walter." This leads to an argument between the brothers, and they eventually walk together toward the beach. James refuses to believe that their father's death was an accident. Both brothers decide separately to investigate the truth. Jonny meets one of his former acquaintances who offers him a drink. After drinking it, Jonny loses consciousness. When he wakes up later, he realizes he has been captured by a criminal gang, the same gang that had previously killed his mother. Meanwhile, James visits another detective and asks for Walter's case report. However, he is told that there is no available information, and the place where Walter died did not have any surveillance cameras. Because of this, James decides to conduct his own investigation. At the same time, Jonny returns home and finds a gun inside the house. Suddenly, another man named Bika appears. He had also been searching the house. Bika tries to escape, but Jonny captures him quickly. Bika explains that he worked with their father, Walter. He tells Jonny that Walter had many enemies who had tried to kill him multiple times. He also reveals that Walter's last job was working as a chef for a company. Meanwhile, James arrives at the crime scene and finds a nearby shop that has a surveillance camera. He goes inside and asks the owner for the footage. The owner demands money in exchange, but James attacks him, forcing him to hand over the footage. Later, James returns home and confronts Jonny. They point guns at each other, but then James shows him a flash drive containing footage from the shop recorded at the time of their father's murder. They discover that the vehicle involved had no license plate, which suggests that Walter was deliberately targeted and assassinated. They realize they need more evidence to identify the killer. Suddenly, while they are outside, another vehicle carrying armed men blocks their path and opens fire on them. Their car cannot withstand the bullets. Jonny eventually jumps out of the vehicle to survive. James also escapes, but their car crashes and is destroyed. Soon after, the police arrive and shout at both brothers for causing chaos. James gives the flash drive to a police commander and asks him to investigate the case, but the commander ignores him. After that, the brothers decide to visit a hidden location. It is not a normal building, but rather a village where locals have lived for many years. During that time, Jonny receives information that the police have found a blue vehicle in the water. They arrive at the location and discover the dead body of a government accountant inside the vehicle. The truck also had no license plate. A man named Rinald explains that there is a list of all blue vehicles registered on the island. When the brothers try to investigate further, Rinald stops them to prevent complications. Jonny then asks Bika to investigate a name called Haisha, which is the only Japanese-sounding name on the list. A few hours later, Bika disguises himself as a worker in order to secretly gather more information. During his investigation, he discovers that a luxurious party is taking place at a certain location. After carefully observing, they confirm that the name Haisha belongs to a member of the same dangerous criminal organization. Meanwhile, James encounters a gang member named Nakamuri. The man begins checking his identification card, and James notices that the name Haisha is written on it. This immediately raises suspicion. At the same time, Jonny meets a woman named Monica. Monica reveals that she is the wife of a man named Marcos, and she is planning to divorce him soon. Suddenly, armed guards surround both brothers. They are captured and taken to Marcos himself. Marcos explains that he knew their father Walter very well, and that Walter worked for him professionally. Marcos appears genuinely shocked when he hears that Walter is dead. However, Jonny believes Marcos is lying and suspects that he is the one responsible for Walter's murder. Marcos denies the accusation completely. The next day, Jonny goes to a tall apartment building where he sees police officers and many people gathered around. He soon realizes that Monica has fallen from the balcony and died. Jonny becomes furious and immediately goes to Marcos's house. He starts fighting Marcos's guards aggressively. However, he is eventually overpowered and captured. Jonny accuses Marcos of killing Monica, but Marcos denies it and orders his men to call the police. Soon, Jonny is arrested and taken to prison. Later, a young man named Peter visits Jonny. Peter, who is a government official, informs him that the police have now officially taken over the investigation of his case. Jonny is released on bail shortly afterward. However, when he meets James again, James begins scolding him harshly, saying that he always creates trouble. This leads to a physical fight between the two brothers. The police vehicles nearby also suffer damage during their confrontation. The older brother James overpowers Jonny easily and nearly kills him in anger, but he stops himself when he realizes that Jonny is his own brother. The next day, Jonny receives a call from Valentine. She tells him that a package has arrived at their house from Walter. Inside the package, there is another flash drive. Jonny asks her to bring it to him immediately. At the airport, Valentine meets Jonny. He tries to kiss her, but she ignores him and simply hands over the flash drive. Later, inside the car, Jonny tries to open the flash drive on his computer, but it is locked and requires 12 passwords. James provides the 12 passwords needed to unlock it. Suddenly, a helicopter appears out of nowhere and starts shooting at them. James struggles to control the car under heavy gunfire. Valentine takes over the driving and demonstrates incredible high-speed driving skills, maneuvering the vehicle with precision. However, James loses control briefly, and the car crashes badly, injuring them. One of the attackers continues chasing them from behind while Jonny fights another attacker directly. Chaos erupts everywhere as gunfire continues. The helicopter keeps pursuing them relentlessly. Finally, James manages to shoot and kill the helicopter pilot. The helicopter crashes violently onto the road, causing massive destruction. After surviving the attack, the group reaches a safe resting place. Bika successfully retrieves important information from the flash drive. They discover a bank account belonging to Peter that contains $12 million. They realize that Marcos had been secretly paying Peter to legalize illegal alcohol operations. This shocking discovery confirms that Peter is deeply involved in the conspiracy. Peter had been under government surveillance, and to protect himself, he had ordered Walter's murder. Meanwhile, Peter meets a woman named Nani, who shows him some new designs. She warns him that Marcos might not be a trustworthy person. Peter pretends that he does not know anything and takes the designs, promising to return later. Soon after, when the group returns home, James notices that his family is missing. He tries calling them, but he finds their phone lying on the ground. He searches the house desperately. His children are hiding in the bathroom, terrified. At that moment, Marcos sends them a video showing Nani being held hostage. Marcos demands that they bring him the flash drive if they want to save her. James becomes extremely angry. He opens his private weapons room and arms himself heavily. That night, the two brothers launch an attack on Marcos's building. They begin shooting the guards one by one. A guard inside notices the attack and alerts the others. Soon, the entire building's power is cut off. Marcos orders his men to secure the building immediately. He sends his gang members to eliminate the intruders. When the gang confronts James, he fights them all fearlessly. The brothers eventually reach the lower level of the building where they find Lila and Nani. The women escape safely while James continues deeper inside to capture Marcos. The gang leader attacks James with a sword, but James severely injures him and eventually kills him. Meanwhile, Jonny chases Marcos before he can escape. Marcos tries to shoot Jonny, but Jonny throws a grenade at him. The explosion kills Marcos instantly. At the same moment, James jumps into the water to save his brother from the explosion. The next morning, Renaud moves quickly and has Peter arrested. After all the evidence uncovered from the flash drive and the illegal money transfers, the authorities finally have enough proof to take him into custody. Peter's secret corruption and his role in ordering Walter's murder are officially exposed. With Marcos dead and Peter arrested, the conspiracy that led to their father's assassination finally begins to collapse. Later, the family gathers at the beach for some peace after everything they've been through. The waves move calmly, completely opposite to the chaos that had surrounded their lives. Jonny sits quietly, holding a photo of their mother. He stares at it for a long time, reflecting on everything: the past, the violence, the pain, and the revenge. He silently promises that he will change his life and build something better. He also promises that he will treat Valentine better and start over with her the right way. The two brothers stand side by side, no longer fighting each other. The anger between them has faded. The war they fought together has rebuilt their bond. After all the bloodshed and betrayal, they decide to leave the darkness behind and begin a new chapter in their lives. Thank you for watching this video. Stay tuned for the next one. We appreciate every one of you.